fact, I wanted to begin with the end of Marco's intervention, the first one. Because at the end you said, and that is a very interesting judgment, which I can share, that we, with the Ukrainian issue, could be understood as a point of bifurcation, you say that in English? Yeah. Where Germany, precisely, will have to choose also between certain aspect of its relationship with US and also with Russia. And in the very recent week, Germany has decided, by the way, I think it was also decided by London, to involve some money in a new bank, Asiatic investment bank, where 75% is Asiatic, but it's a common project also between Russia and China, which is quite important. And why do I raise this? Because when you to come back on Russian military power to intervene, like you say, it's something to when you speak, when you were saying that speaking of NATO or US military hegemony is one thing, but what are they able to do concretely? But I will raise the same question with Russia. Is it of the interest of Putin's Russia to launch a military offensive in Ukraine? Or is it, like I read in your own article and intervention, is the interest of Putin to have some control on Ukraine through the decentralized power of Donbass and so on, but not to integrate even that region within Russia or launch a war which would raise problems with Germany, France, European Union to support such a policy. So, and even in the relationship between Putin and Greece, when Tsipras went to Russia asking for support, I know that Russia had economic difficulties to answer, but I don't think it is the main reason why Putin said no to Tsipras. I think Russia is more interested in European Union than in Greece or in Ukraine as such. Is using things, but and especially the German and Chinese issues are much more important for it. So that's one point I wanted to raise. Second point about definition of imperialism and so on. I precisely avoided in a way because it's long and then we are in completely new world. That's the point. Then the Lenin's and so on. And I agree with our formulation about China's, for instance, power and orientation. I would say a similar thing for Russia. I mean, both of them, Russia and China, play in the sphere of great power policy, in the global capitalism. They want to be on the side of imperialism, in a better position to win on energy relationship, on financial relationship. But for instance, Russia is not against European Union. It would have liked to be within European Union. That's the point. He's not criticizing the kind of social relationship and non-democratic union. He wants to build the very same one. And so they have... So there are interdependence between those powers, and they want to gain and to be respected as great power, which is not our point of view. Third point about, and last point about campism. I would also, I think that the situation is really grave, serious, yes. When we look at the kind of front which are proposed with the far right, and where the global view of Russia and Russian policies, Putin's policy, being an alternative to a so-called U.S. United Union. I mean, European Union. I think this is really, and that comes even from within currents of intellectual currents, which were supposed to be close to anti-Stalinist or to. And the alliance with very far-right currents is an ongoing process, which is really a big danger. So to finish with a positive point, I mean, what was said about the importance of democratic issue in Ukraine, I do believe is very important. Not only democratic, but linked with democracy as a condition of democracy, social issue. And there in the resolution we voted at the international meeting of the 4th. I mean, we had difficulty to propose anything. We worked it with some Ukrainian and Russian comrades both. And we put emphasis on the idea that was expressed by the very small minority resisting to campism and resisting to war propaganda, both from Russia and from Kiev. War propaganda which is used in both cases to prevent social uprise and to prevent a democratic procedure. We were supporting what they say, that they needed ceasefire and that they knew that they needed ceasefire to push forward any kind of democratic and social procedure to control. If there is no ceasefire, it's impossible to push forward forces in defense of self-determination in all the region of Ukraine in the way to consolidate it. But the situation is grave because is serious because even there, I do believe that neither US nor Putin control what is going on the field in Ukraine. That was a question I would have liked to raise with you, Marco. I think that the state has even no more the monopoly to control even the military dimensions and confrontation in Ukraine. And that the far-right currents, even against any kind of constitutional agreements, I mean, are for the moment fighting for confrontation and not accepting any kind of solution and democratic solution even more. So I do believe that well, we are not in the fair world, but we do need to make alliance between those who resist in Russia, in European Union, and in Ukraine for another kind of relationship in Europe.